Hey everybody, welcome to the Next Come Up Show, where we let you know who and what is next on television, in film, and entertainment news. I am your host, Mr. Steven Strickland, and I am so excited to have joined us today because this is our show, the cast and crew of the wonderful film Pink Opaque. How are you doing today, guys?
We are wonderful. Thank you very much for having us.
Awesome.
Thank you.
Nice intro,
awesome.
Man. That was good.
I try. I try. Their film, Pink Opaque, has been accepted into the 24th Annual American Black Film Festival. I know this is an honor and exciting for you guys. So let's go around. Let's go around the Zoom. You see what I did there? Let's go around the Zoom and introduce yourself and what role or part of this whole production you play.
The writer and director of Pink Opaque.
How you doing, Derrick?
I'm doing well, man. Great to be here.
Cool. Who we got next?
I'm Dave Ragsdale, the producer of Pink Opaque.
How you doing, Dave? Glad to have you.
I'm wonderful. Thank you for having us here. It's wonderful to chat Pink.
Yes, to chat Pink. I like that. And the lovely lady?
Hi, I'm Ruby Park. I play Kristen Lee in Pink Opaque.
All right, cool. Glad to have you, Ruby.
I'm Daniel C, and I'm the older brother to Ruby's Kristen. I'm Bobby. I'm also associate producer on this film as well.
All right, awesome. Is there anybody else that isn't here?
We were supposed to have Elijah Booth joining us, who is also a producer on the film as well as our lead actor. Unfortunately, he is in the middle of a plumbing emergency. So his apartment was flooded just like 20 minutes ago from above. Wow. I guess a unit above got some sort of bad leak. And and he sends his regards and he really wishes he could be here. But and thanks you guys for giving Pink a little bit of love. Pink Opaque a little bit of love. Appreciate it.
All right. We're definitely glad to have you here. So let's get right into it. How's everybody doing today? How's everybody doing during this whole unprecedented time in our lives today? That's for anybody. Yeah.
I taught myself how to cut my own hair.
There you go.
Me too.
That's what
Me too. But I need a haircut. I've been just buzzing my head bald.
Dude, maybe we'll talk. We'll get together. I'll spot some equipment and I'll help you out there, bro.
Yeah, I've been shaving my head, just shave it all off. But
Evenly.
It's been about a month. So
Me too. There you go.
Hey yo.
You gotta do.
I don't have that problem, but
No.
just growing it out, I guess.
Yeah, I see a lot of guys. They're letting everything wolf out. I'm like, come on now, take this time to learn something new, and learn how to cut your hair, or at least trim it down or something.
some beard butter, whatever it takes,
Yeah, there you go. But then a lot of them say, well, no, this is a good time because we're getting ready for roles where I gotta look scruffy. I'm like, okay, yeah, whatever. Tell me anything. But so I'm glad you guys are okay, and making it through and getting by, throughout this time of quarantine. And so tell us about your film, Pink Opaque.
It's the short kind of elevator pitch. It's a film about a student, Travis Wolfe, trying to finish his thesis, and he's in Los Angeles. And within that film, there's a lot of different strands and stories, especially one featuring his uncle, who is a retired, kind of still in the business, but not really in the business of Hollywood. And within that, there's some family issues that are brought up. And then there's also a relationship with Kristen, who is played by the lovely Ruby here. And Daniel, her brother, is not quite approving of their relationship. So there's some friction there that comes out. And we have all of this stuff, all these different issues and strands come to a head at the end of the film during the screening of Travis's thesis. So. It's a lot of different issues and topics we touch on, from homelessness to sexuality to, secrets. So it's got a lot for everybody. And it's a very, very current and authentic film that feels like 2020,
Right. That's important.
Sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt, but I think, Derrick, either I can talk about it or you talk about it, but we really worked hard to have diverse characters that were outside the normal stereotypes of what you see in a film that has a a black lead and whatnot. He's a filmmaker. He's an artist. You know what I mean? And Ruby's character, Kristen, she's a designer. She's a fashion designer. She's, it's showing people in an authentic manner, in a way that kind of celebrates diversity in the way that we kind of, I want to say it's almost like a reflection of the world we wish we lived in, where diversity is really a great thing, because we all know that, everyone on this team and everybody involved with this, we all believe in that. And I think it's just kind of maybe a little bit of a reflection of what we would hope, film can evolve to. So it doesn't have to just be a basketball player or a rapper or a gangster or whatever it is. And it's more about the human than the race, if that makes sense.
I mean, which are things that everyone can relate to, like when you have these things that are so pigeonholed, those aren't things that everyone can appeal to. But these more larger topics, these things that are more aspirational, everyone has dreams and things that they want, that they want. So that was important.
Definitely. I totally understand. Dave, I can tell you have done a ton of interviews, because you just went right into my next question. You started answering my question.
Sorry, bro. We can rack it back. No problem.
It's fine. It is totally fine. My question would have been, what was the casting process like for you? And how important was it to have diversity?
Oh, for sure. Well, diversity, obviously, that came in the initial concept of the script. When DERRICK, whatever draft it was, when it finally landed on my desk, when we said, it was over tequila, and then we're like, yeah, all right, let's do a movie. Show me what you want to do. We knew we had a great base for Los Angeles, right, as kind of a backdrop or a major character within the film. Exactly. But we had a great base of the initial characters that DERRICK developed that were really well written, and necessarily their ethnic background wasn't shining in the light that it wasn't the main focus. You know what I mean? So that's one of the things that really attracted both DERRICK and I to say, all right, let's really do this and do it as authentically as possible. So to go back into your question about casting, so casting was a long process. DERRICK and I saw a lot of people. DERRICK and I basically worked 3 months full time pre-producing the film. And I want to say 2 months of that wasn't just casting, but it was a 2-month process of seeing people. So I don't even know how many Travises we saw. I don't even know how many Kristens we saw. I know that we only saw a few Bobbies, though.
There weren't that many Bobbies, though.
There weren't that many Bobbies. Daniel was one of the first people that we cast. And then we started building around Daniel, seeing how other levels of talent, because this was all a non-union basically show, right? So it was finding the right level of talent that can accommodate or complement, I should say, each different character, all the way to the point where we're about a week out from filming when we switch Kristen, Ruby's role, with another actor. So we brought Ruby in, switched her role that she was originally cast for, and all of a sudden, I think it was a week or so before we began filming, she was now Kristen, and she had totally gotten ready to do a different role, and all of a sudden, boom, there's this change. And the casting process, it even went all the way into our principal photography, where we ended up recasting the role of Wallace, who's Robin's kind of financial advisor and good friend from years in Hollywood together, during an improv scene where one of the guys on set just blew us away, and we just ran to each other from we were both on different sides of what was going on. And we're like, wait, Wallace, this guy can be Wallace. And we literally cast right there on set and changed the scene, did a whole improvised thing with him. And so that's basically the long answer to your casting question. It was throughout the entire process of the film, really, and it was always just a blueprint that I feel that DERRICK and I kind of knew what we wanted from each character. And so it was always striving to get the best person we could to fill that role.
Ruby, how did you
Okay.
feel about? How did you feel about that when you got your upgrade from whatever other character you
Oh
were
man,
playing, Chris?
I had to reread that contract. I was like, excuse me? I had to make sure that was right. I definitely emailed like, oh, is this right? But of course I was really ecstatic and happy. When I first came in, I wanted to read for Kristen, and I love the character. She's so rich, and the way that, you know, Derrick created her has such a interesting story. Like, not only is she Travis's girlfriend, but she's an aspiring designer. It's really modern in the sense that, like, she's you know, bootstrapping, you know, creating her own you know, business essentially using the internet. And you know, that's such a modern take, and I really relate to that too, because you know, I have a fashion background as well, and I was just like, this is me. Like, I really, honestly, I related to her so much, and I was just like, this is the coolest character ever. And the fact that she was also, you know, from Koreatown, I know that place. Like, I didn't grow up there, but I go there. I grew up in the area. I know this place. I know these girls. I know like what it's like, and it's such a it's close to me. Like, I feel like this character is something that I haven't seen before, which is really exciting. So of course, when I saw the upgrade, I was ecstatic. I couldn't be more happy. Of course, there was so much more work to be done, and it was kind of like boot camp. I had to really just gear up and use all of the tricks in the book to like get everything down. But thankfully, you know, I had a great team to help support, and yeah, Dave was there and Derrick was there. We chatted before. He's like, "Are you okay? You good with this?" And I was like, I have to do it, right?
Right,
Gotta
right.
just go with it, you know. So yeah, it was exciting.
Awesome, awesome. So this question is for both Ruby and Daniel. What do you think makes for a good director?
Who has a vision, where he wants to go, what he's trying to say, and understanding how to be the lead of the family of the film. I mean, it's kind of crazy, but I think directors are also producers as well, because they're honing in everybody. They're grabbing everybody. They're making sure all the things are happening as well, because he has to concentrate on filmmaking. He has to concentrate on the actual directing part, but he needs to make sure that everybody else around him is supported, so that he can go ahead and focus on and laser beam, you know, the objective, which is to make this film happen. So with Derrick, man, it was, and David, because David came in and he jumped in when Derrick was concentrating on other things. Dave would come in into the individual actors, and he would work with them while we're prepping our scene. You know, Derrick's doing his directing on the actual scene that's happening, and then Dave would come in and even like right before the shots, you know, the preparation that these directors, both David and Derrick, helped like push me into that zone, as far as me individually in my role, push me into that zone where I was like, okay, I know exactly what they want in this scene. I know what my objective is. I understand the script. I understand what my character's going through, but what are they seeing? What are they trying to visualize? Because every director has a different visual. And Derrick, you know, just from the script that he wrote, because he also wrote it, I could tell immediately that every individual, and I said this in another interview, I think, that, you know, every individual character I read in the script had a beginning, middle, and end. And yeah, it was interesting to see how he also had his perspective of how he wants to show this film, a very, very artistic Los Angeles vibe and just vibrancy of this town, and just the creativeness, you know, Ruby's character being the fashion, you know, diva, and it's just amazing what she does. And so every individual character, and Bobby, of course, the role that I play, you know, I just knew there was an arc to every character, and that's because he knew like each character, but also he knew the visual that he wanted with this. And it was so easy. I mean, to be honest, it wasn't one of those situations. I've been in situations where I couldn't grasp the concept of what the director was trying to do So I just threw it in, just my individual concept, you know, perspective of what this should be or what I think it should be. But with Derrick and Dave, I knew from the beginning, and it was based on the script, like, wow, this is gonna be a very, very independent film, like gritty Los Angeles, you know, but vibrant and beautiful, like colorful film.
Okay, cool. So, Derrick,
Yes.
let me ask you, what makes for a great cast?
Like, as in the individual actor, or just as a whole cast as a whole, an ensemble?
Individual actor.
You know, I mean, well, you know, it's an interesting dance working with actors because they all sort of have their own language that you have to speak, and wavelength maybe actually would be a better word that you have to kind of get on, you know. There's not like a universal way to direct someone or to work with someone. You kind of have to figure out someone's personality and which way they respond best to what it is that you're ever trying to achieve with them. So one of the biggest things is just someone who's open. You know, you got to work with someone who is just open to that process, who doesn't come into it, you know, like you want them to bring themselves, but you want them to be open as well, you know. So someone that is receptive and can mold, and I mean, actors I have the utmost respect for, you know, they're such chameleons. They're just such amazing people. You know, I feel lucky to kind of be able to work with them and see the beauty of what it is that they do. You know, it's such a gorgeous thing to me. You know, I really appreciate and respect the craft.
Awesome, awesome. So, Dave, Derrick, Daniel, Ruby, were there any obstacles? Were there any obstacles or things that went wrong during production? And if so, how did you get past them or get over them?
Well, yeah, I mean, there's always something that goes wrong, you know.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say. Is like there's always, you know, maybe the easiest answer is Courtney Poe. We were able to fix everything from Courtney Poe, our co-producer, who is amazing. No, every day there's different things that pop up. But I don't know, is there any particular example? I mean, do you want to tell the chasing of the fire story? Do you want to tell?
I want to hear that.
Yeah,
I mean, we had, you know, I don't know, we never like really lost big things. Like we never really lost a huge set piece on a day, or, you know, all of a sudden a whole day's worth of footage was gone, or we ran a pretty tight ship. Like it was a very small condensed crew, and it was very like streamlined and everything. But I'm trying to think the biggest obstacles. I don't know. What do you think?
I mean, the whole thing is like an obstacle, you know, so it's you're just constantly trying to hit moving targets the whole time, basically. So, but, you know, speaking to the fire story that Dave kind of brought up, was the day that we were shooting in Malibu, was the day that the fire started in 2018, November, basically. So we went
when Ventura fires, yeah.
As we were driving to the Malibu, to the location, we see firefighters kind of gathering on the side of the road, and we're thinking like, oh, they must be preparing for like a drill or something, you know, like, and we're shooting, there's wind, Dave's up there doing media managing, like there's all kinds of like, on the bluff, everything's fine under there, but up above the bluff, like it's just like a whole windstorm. We don't even know anything until we get back up to finishing shooting for the day, you know, and then as we're driving back out, we learned that basically the fires that started that lasted for like the next few weeks, and was, you know, we had to evacuate Malibu, you know, it was a whole, if we would have been shooting the next day, we could not have gotten to the location, basically.
Oh,
well, the location was burned. Like it still isn't even back to where it was. And like Derrick said, we were so lucky. We often said, you know, God or a higher power or whatever you believe in kind of had our backs a little bit, because, you know, we had that schedule locked for 2-3 weeks or whatever it was. And it's literally kind of the luck of how, you know, it all drawed out that day 8 happened to be the day we were there filming. That's when we could get our permit and we could go and do it. Had it been day 9, literally it wouldn't exist. And like Derrick was saying, the parking lot is about 60 feet or 50 feet or whatever it is higher than the beach, because you go down all these stairs and you get down to the beach. And so they were tucked in right below the bluff, which allowed for quality sound and all that. And then literally when they came up to where I was running up and down between the set, it was gusts of 60-mile-an-hour winds, which was a sandstorm in the parking lot. It's just a beach, sandy parking lot. So literally, like, it hurt. Like, you were projectiles, and like my car was scratched. All the cars were scratched, and all, like, it was heavy. And then we had to get these guys climb all the gear up out of all of that into this crazy sandstorm with, lenses and, card readers and everything else you could imagine. And the next day, I know our AC, our second AC, and our DP, they had to do a massive cleaning of everything. It was hairy. That was a hairy day, but we made it through. We shot a really lovely scene with a lovely couple on the beach, and no one knows except us, and now your audience.
Oh, man.
All right.
It's kind of amazing because when I heard about it, because I wasn't there, it was just Ruby and Elijah, but when I saw the pictures, like, in post, when I saw it was like Dave said, I believe, God blessed us with the situation, because somehow the smoke in the backdrop just made it like this pinkish, like, hue, and it just, like, beautiful at the same time. As hard as that would be for anyone to go through, like, it just somehow, for our film and what we were doing, and just we had to shoot, like Dave was saying at that time, like, they had to shoot, it still worked out beautifully.
That was my first day, just going into that sandstorm and the fires and all of that, and not knowing kind of like what the schedule was. It was kind of a very hectic day, to say the least. Hair and makeup wasn't even done. I think I was all natural that day. It was like just, all right, put your clothes on and let's get to the beach kind of thing. I was like, all right, let's go, okay. And when we're there, like Dear was saying, the sandstorm was kind of loud. So we had to speak louder than usual. It was a little tough to do that, when you're as an actor, you're like, oh, I'm in theater, I'm not a theater person. So you just kind of have to, really dig deep. And this was like the first day where we're supposed to be super in love, and the emotional connection has to be there as well. And there's sand in our eyes, and we're trying to look at each other in the eyes. It was really funny. Looking back, of course, in the moment, I was a little stressed. I was like, how are we going to get this shot? And I wasn't really used to also, DERRICK's had this new kind of system going with all the actors, where they would just do, I think they call it just punching it or something, but like you would just
punching your lines.
Exactly. So like instead of like retaking those takes, they would ask me to go, okay, go again. Okay, go again. I'm like, my God, okay, let me reset my face. Let me try to like get there again. And it was tough. I always say it was, boot camp for me. That was the toughest day for sure. Yeah.
All right. Welcome to Hollywood.
There you go.
How many days from first shot to Martini?
Well, 16.
We had 6.
Yeah, 16 days of principal photography, and then we had about 4 days of pickup shots, and then drone photography as well. That took a little bit of time.
Okay.
Yeah, there was about 12 days of shooting for drone, but it wasn't. There was like maybe 6 that were like really, really long days, and the other ones were catching sunsets and sunrises and very specific shots, because with permitting and when you can actually fly and whatnot. So,
all right. What if there are any differences and/or similarities in your film and other films that have been accepted into ABFF?
One thing I've noticed from watching several films is a lot of people have done nightclub scenes this year with purple and pink.
They're in.
The bisexual lighting, right? Did I get that right?
I guess that's what they're calling it. I
wasn't familiar with that term until the last podcast, but I might have to use that one now.
Wow, the bisexual lighting. Okay.
I've never heard that before, but
I learned it from a photographer friend actually. Yeah, it's trending now.
It's very
Okay,
trendy.
just
It
kidding.
seems like almost every film has one of those scenes, you know.
All right. So
Derek, what about you? What about you? What did you see that is the same?
I didn't really feel much similarity wise between our film. I mean, they were, but besides being, good, I enjoyed both of the films. Kenneth was one. It was, yeah, they were, I think that ABFF has, from what I'd seen there and the trailers I watched, like a pretty diverse topical lineup of films, like they don't really seem to be all from one area or one place or kind of in certain things. Like, they did a really good job of the variety of the film.
Cool. So before we get out of here, what's next for the film? What's next for the production company? What you got going on? What's cooking?
Yeah, why don't you talk about the release, Dave?
Yeah, so we're hitting Amazon Direct on Monday, August 31st. We've had a few distribution kind of offers that we didn't feel were right for us, so we're just staying in the lane of staying independent right now, and we'll see what comes up in the future. But we also have quite a few festivals as well. We're in the Los Angeles Black Film Festival. We're in the Urban Film Festival. We're in the Calabasas Film Festival. I don't know. There's about 4, 5, 6 others that I think might be taking us into the holiday season. And then we'll see what's that. I mean, all said and done, I remember many times, and I'm sure I know I said it to everyone on this call, that maybe we'll make something that we're proud of that we can watch in our living rooms. And maybe it's even good enough that someone else might want to watch it too. And so we've now arrived at that someone else might want to watch it too. And I'm just very proud of the whole team. And it's a long road, a lot of work, but I'm very proud of the whole team.
All right, awesome. Well, I'm proud of you and your team as well. Please send Elijah our love, and I think my producer may, like you said, if you want to reach out and get a separate interview, with Elijah, that's something.
Yeah, please do. I'll happily coordinate it. Yep.
All right, cool. Thank you guys for joining us today. Daniel, Derrick,
Thank you, Stephen.
Dave, Ruby. Yes. Okay.
Yay.
Working on my memory skills. Again, congratulations to you guys, to all of you guys, for your team, your cast, your crew, for this project and being accepted into the 24th Annual American Black Film Festival, aka ABFF. This has been the Next Come Up Show. I am your host, Mr. Stephen Strickland. As always, remember, do what you love and love what you do.
I don't have a finished film in my hands by the time I start the screening on Friday. You don't graduate.
My name is Travis Wolfe. I'm 22 years old. Film student in Hollywood, chasing my dreams. I'm not done editing, and you kicking me out isn't really helping.
I mean, any idea where we can go?
What about that uncle?
Carolyn Wolfe.
What about her?
I'm her son.
Travis?
Your uncle is a very sick man. Stay away from him.
You can have a conversation with anybody. Who would it be?
My dad. All I ever wanted to do was make him proud.
Forget about your little student film. I'm talking about a network show. We could be in this together.
You gotta let someone into your universe, or else you'll just be all alone.
Memory is a funny thing. You remember anything about your father?
My name is Travis Wolfe. Film student in Hollywood.
Without that film, I can't graduate.
Chasing my dreams. Everyone has a story. This one's mine.